Good
Happy
morning.
attendees. Good morning, Celeste.
Good morning. How are we?
We're good, thank you. And you?
Oh, good, thank you.
Good. No complaint.
Sorry?
We good. No complaint. Sorry, I logged in. Not should have logged in a little bit earlier, but I missed the first part. Are we just?
No, that's fine. You're on time, so you're not early. I mean, you're early as in we're going to start at 8:30.
Cool.
Yeah, so welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Nice sunny day. Where are you? Let's quickly share. Where's everybody from? Luke, where are you from? Oh, now you're on mute. You auto.
There we go. Yeah, originally I'm from Cape Town, from the northern suburbs. So I recently moved up to Gauteng last year, November. Yeah, so I'm actually based in Rivonia.
Oh, right. Okay, that's quite a change from Cape Town to Joburg, eh?
Yeah, it's a massive change, but I must say I'm really enjoying it. It's been really good, and I mean, all the opportunities easier in Joburg, if I should say.
People in Joburg, I find, are a lot more hospitable or something. It's just they've got a different mindset.
Definitely agree with that, Joe.
Yeah, compared to
Much
Cape Town. Much friendlier. I think in Joburg, as a stranger, I can probably be invited to sleep at someone's house if I was stranded. Whereas in Cape Town, that's not going to happen.
Most definitely,
So yeah. Where are you from, Martha?
So I'm based in Centurion, Pretoria.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in the capital city.
Okay. And Carl, you Joburg, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in Benoni, which is just near our Tambo, near the airport, just south of the capital city.
Okay. And Robin's from KZN.
Very cold KZN.
Robin, have you cleaned the sea? Because we want to come and swim.
No, not yet. It's still banned to swim. All those toxins from the chemical factory, and they think it's probably going to be till next year, maybe middle next year.
Wow.
So it's a real issue. Well, the company is now being prosecuted because there was a lot of illegal chemicals in the factory. So
apparently they didn't have a license to trade.
Oh, really? That I didn't know.
Yeah.
And they've messed up
two
the
factories.
seas.
Yeah.
Even the fishermen going out is having a problem. There's not much fish going on. And they also don't trust the fish they catch. So they all go down South Coast or North Coast.
Okay. Sure.
It's very weird to see the beaches with no people in. But you get this odd person who think they're mavericks and they jump in. Yeah.
And they come out all bleached. No hair.
They look like albinos when they come out. Shame. I must tell you a lovely story. I saw when I went there, we went there for lunch with one of my clients at Shaka, and we saw two albino, a couple, and it was so beautiful. They were so in love, and they were just such nice looking people. So I mustn't talk about albinos.
Yeah, it's nice to see a couple in love, eh?
Yeah. Ah, Jonathan was on.
Morning, Robin. How are you?
I'm all right. You?
Excellent, thank you.
I'm trying to get hold of you, but you're busy, I think.
How's it, Robin? Yeah, I must say, I did see the missed call when I got the email, and I thought, oh shit, I missed that a day or two ago. But I will get back to it. I promise you. I'm still trying to plow my way through the masses of information that you require from me.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Oh, seems a lot, quite a lot. Good morning, Eugene. Morning, Sean.
Morning.
Graham.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
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 Yes, see, this is early, hey?
No, for Sean, I think it's early.
Are you sure?
Yeah, good news, Robin.
Are
What's
you, remind us, is it hour ahead or behind?
Yeah, it's only well, it's hour behind. I think
Yeah.
you're an hour ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
since COVID, like this whole getting up at 7 in the morning has never happened. So you like work starts at about 10. So this is like my wife elbowed me and she's like, "Are you still going?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about right now."
but that must be because now so it's only an hour. When do the clocks change?
I think at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's the end of the month. Eh?
Yeah. It's quite good because most of my team is in South Africa at the moment. So like, you know, when I wake up, work's done already. So
That's what I experienced as well. And I quite like it when it switches over to the 2 hours behind. It just seems to work.
Yeah.
The hour behind is not so, but the 2 hours I like.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh my God, it is Freddie! Freddie!
How are you?
How are you, Freddie?
I'm fine.
I like your new background. It's very posh. Oh no, come on.
Oh, the red. I like the red.
You know, after the FASA event, there was a question I asked Freddie and he didn't hear me. I said, I wanted to know who ripped off that one picture off your wall there, Freddie.
It fell.
It's actually two of them.
Two now.
It fell from the wall.
I think we need to start a DIY handyman franchise in South Africa. What do you reckon?
Right. We'll
How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good, thank you. How are you?
There's still another few people that's supposed to join, so we'll get started so we don't run out of time. So yeah, let's do that. So don't stop. So we were sharing where everyone is from. So in the meantime, while I get everything started, we had Blondine. Where are you from? Blondine, if I get it right.
So I'm originally from France, Middle West, but I've spent the last 6 years and a half in Johannesburg. I'm based in Sandton currently.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm working for
the.
I'm working for the French Trade Commission. So the embassy is in Pretoria and the Trade Commission is in Sandton.
Okay.
Morning.
Very cool.
Very cool. And Sean is from the UK. Graham, how's the UK faring?
Yeah, it's all right. Everyone's getting back to normal. We've just had the 2 big franchise conferences.
Yeah.
So I think the French franchise conference happened last week, and then the 2 British franchise conferences happened. But over here, there's this politics going on because there's a conference that's run by the Franchise Association, and then there's a big American conference company called the MFE. And so MFE started doing conferences, and I don't know how, but they're kind of like teenagers. They make sure that the conference is on the same day. So whoever announces their conference first, the second one then comes in and announces their conference on the same day. Just because, you know, it's good for consumers, it's good for franchising and everything to split the whole audience in 2 on the same day. But anyway, yeah, it was quiet actually. Yeah? So the lots of people went and exhibited, but you know, in terms of actual footfall, it was dead quiet. Every photo I've seen has got like 2 little random people walking along the passages and everything. I think that the virtual world, or at least the hybrid, is going to be the way to go. Like really small sort of gatherings face to face, and then quite a lot of the initial talking just via hybrid via video.
Yeah, I think it's just more convenient. Okay, so we'll get started. So hello everyone, welcome to this morning's virtual session with FASA. We get to exchange information and widen our circles. My name is Romany Thresher and I'm your host for today. Just want to say thank you to everyone for joining, and thank you to Robin and Martha who will be sharing some information with us this morning. So I just want to remind everybody that these sessions are recorded and may be used for marketing purposes. No impersonal information will be used or shared. So what I also want to say is, you know, you guys can share information and contact information in the message box if you want to contact each other, but don't contact me because I do not want to share people's personal information. It's you know, up to them for you guys to share with each other. So for the formats for today, just please keep your cameras on if you can. It just helps the presenters. You know, it's nice to see faces instead of black screens with just names. The day will end with further discussions. If you do not wish to introduce yourself, please send me a direct message and then I will not announce your name, and then we'll complete a feedback survey at the end of the session. The next session, put it in your diaries, is in the 4th of November from 8:30 to 10. Invite people to come and join, invite your colleagues, your friends. People do benefit from sessions like these. I do hear about those. So yeah, do that. Everyone's welcome. Come back again and join us. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to hand over to Freddie, who will introduce the session, and then we'll open it to the audience where you get to announce your name, your surname, let us know where you're located, the company that you work for, maybe what's your reason for being here today, or something that's on your mind today. What is it that's on your mind? That's challenges that you're facing. So I'm going to open it to Freddie, who will now have the floor.
Thank you, Romani, and welcome everyone. Sean, happy to see you. And I know we miss others who we used to engage in preparing for the conference, but you are on and we appreciate that. To our members and those who have attended because they have interest in franchising, we welcome you and we appreciate your support all the way. And Blendin, I know we have engaged in meetings last 2 weeks ago, and I'm quite happy that you have attended this meeting because I believe it is a platform where you will get to network with our members and potential franchisees and franchisors. So I think this session is important for FASA in that, as we know the impact of COVID-19 on operations, we are able to connect online, and we will wish and hope that things improve and we are able to hold our expos. But we have to take advantage of the opportunities that the technology provides to us. And we therefore wish and hope that all of us, we will get some experience and necessary information in order to move forward in our businesses. Enjoy the session, and we will really appreciate to hear from you as we intend on improving as we go along. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. Right, I'm going to hand over to Carl. I like to have Carl introduce himself first. What's on your mind? Which is your company? Let us know.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Carl from World Class Coach. We are a coaching franchise. We focus on business growth, leadership, and personal development. What I have on my mind at the moment, the last quarter, we've entered the last quarter, and I think that's kind of something to think about. What's your push going to be in the last quarter? What's your next move for this last quarter of this year to really make it count? Think about that and make it count. Thank you, Romani.
Excellent, and I forgot to share what's on my mind. So I'm Romani Thresher. I'm a digital asset manager as well as a social media online consultant. So I manage social media and online assets and at the moment we host virtual events if you're interested. What's on my mind has been the crash with Facebook and WhatsApp, because it's very interesting to observe and critical to observe how many businesses, especially small businesses, rely on these social media platforms with all their information. Pretty much what happens if everything shuts down? Where's your database? Where's your network? Because a lot of people seem to be dependent on these social networks. So just something to bear in mind, to always own your data, own your IP, own everything, so that you don't wake up one morning and your business could have gone down with the rest of other third parties. So that's been on my mind. Right, let's move to Sean.
I knew you were going to do that. Hi everyone, Sean Goldsmith here. I'm originally from South Africa, for those of you who don't recognize the accent. So I grew up in a tiny little place in Mpumalanga called Dilstroom. And for the past 20 years, I've been up in the UK. And literally, I was just one of those kids who I just wanted to come say hello to my dad's family. I didn't even want to sort of, get my British passport. So I was so proudly South African. And then ended up starting a business by mistake, and forgot to go home basically. But I've been involved very heavily in worldwide franchising for a long time now, for about 18 years. I work with clients all over the place, but I'm also a franchisor. I own 4 different franchises. We're so heavily involved in the whole franchising thing, and as Romany and Freddie and various others will tell you, I'm probably one of the most vocal, advocates of what franchising can do for communities and people and individuals. So I'm a big believer in the big concept. Being involved in the Franchising for Africa conference was really fantastic, and part of the reason that I'm here today is because we want to continue working with South Africa and taking a look at how we can help South Africa, but also we are one of those very rare species. My family and I are moving back to South Africa. And we're going to come and give it a bash from sunny Cape Town, I think. Although I'm a Vali, I've got to say, Cape Town's like not really my vibe. I'm definitely a Vali, but the family's down there. So but other than that, actually, strangely enough, I now manage the international operations for a very large franchise called Techie. In the US, and they've just bought the Experimax franchise, which is located in South Africa. So we're managing the Experimax franchise at the moment too. So anyway, that's me in a very large nutshell.
Thank you. Right, Blandine.
All right, so my name is Blandine Negron. I'm working for the French Trade Commission. So our main goal is to develop business between French companies and Southern African counterparts. So we've got an office with about 12 people in Johannesburg, and we also cover the neighboring country, Zambia, Botswana, Mozambique, Madagascar, Mauritius, and Namibia. I have spent the last 6 years in Johannesburg, so I'm starting to be slowly a local here. We have a certain amount of French French brands that are looking at expanding in South Africa. They're looking for a franchisor, they're looking for master franchisor in various sectors. So that's why I'm here to see if I can connect with anyone, if someone is looking for a concept and has some time, money, and energy to invest.
Luke.
Hi everyone, I'm Luke Smith. I'm from Cape Town originally. I recently made my move to Gauteng, and I'm from a company called Polygon Prop. Just a quick description about what we do. We basically an online leasing platform that assists retailers in finding space, and we also manage a few landlords as well. So for example, like the likes of Redefine, Fortress, ShopRite, and ShopRite Checkers. So they are basically clients of us, and they load all the vacancies onto our system. And then retailers come into our system. Obviously, I'm using the system as a search engine, and they would obviously contact the landlords directly, seeing that if there is a space for them available. And obviously why I am here today is obviously like to connect with you guys and obviously learn a bit about franchising and how we can go about obviously obtaining a franchise business, and also obviously obtaining funding to go about that job. So that's me in a nutshell.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Graham.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Graham Fontaine. Love joining these sessions that Romney puts together. Can't wait to hear what's going to happen later today. I like to consider myself as an innovator, but I'm also here to learn as much as I can from various industries from across the globe. And I'd like to network as much as possible. Maybe there are synergies that we can share, and I'm already here. There's quite a bit of people looking out for support and new ideas and to increase their stakeholders. So I'm probably one of them. I'll put something up on the chat a bit more in detail about what I do. So I'm also working on a new project now, Romney, which I need to discuss with you. We're putting together a digital startup pack for SMEs, and as a consortium of myself and some of my colleagues, offering them from e-commerce to digital advertising to trading and all of that. So it's a bundle of the solutions that we spoke about previously, something that just came up last week, and this is what keeps me going, innovation on a day-to-day basis. And nice to meet everyone. Thank you.
I just want to mention, Polani said that she's based in the Midrand, works for Massbuild, looking for franchise opportunities. So that's Polani. Thank you for joining us again. Always nice to see you here. Jonathan, over to you.
Thanks. Can everybody hear me? I switched over to my AirPods. Okay, cool. So my name is Jonathan. I am a baby franchisor. I'm busy working with Robin at the moment to be a bigger franchisor. We started a chili sauce business in 4 years ago. We saw a gap in the market where every chili sauce that was out there was not specifically targeted to the third-tier township market. And I spent a lot of my childhood hanging out in townships, and I love the vibe. I love the way it is. I love the feeling that exists in the townships. And so we started making a chili sauce with a very kind of South African feel. It's called Shai Fire, you can see here. We started selling into the wholesalers, Kit Kat, into Big Save, into Devlin, those guys out in the third tier market. And then when COVID started, we were just on the brink of launching a product for chicken coating, you know, the same as like you would put KFC type of the skin on KFC. And we launched that in the middle of a pandemic, which was super smart and great timing. But that is taking off quite nicely. It's a good market sector to be in. We then looked at it and said, well, the best way to take our product forward is to have a franchise chain of chicken restaurants. So we started looking at that because, again, why not do these things when the whole world is under pressure? And so we then started looking in January this year, or March this year, we started looking around for property. And Luke, I was quite interested because it's a bugbear of mine, the being able to find places and spaces where you can open restaurants. But we opened our first restaurant in Marble Hall as a test proof of concept. Restaurant is doing quite nicely, and we're busy getting ourselves up and running. So we now have our first restaurant up and running, looking for sites for number 2 and number 3. Robin, as I said, is helping us to kind of look at how do we expand that footprint properly and become a fully fledged franchisor. But that's essentially what we're looking to do. We hope to open a whole bunch of new restaurants in the peri-peri chicken space with a little bit of crossover into the coated chicken space, you know, the fried chicken space, because we know that there's a good crossover, and because we have such a strong South Africa centric vibe, we're strongly guided by give back to the community. We're trying to make sure that the marketing money gets spent not with big broadcasters and with social media, but rather in the communities where our restaurants are, and open playgrounds and open and sponsor schools and all of that in the areas where we operate, so we can give back some of the marketing money that our franchisees pay to us into the direct communities. And that's all I have to say.
Robin.
Hi, I am a franchise consultant. I specialize on small franchises, startups, guys who want to enter the field. So I assist them doing that from Durban, a very cold Durban. I'm battling to find the switch for the air conditioner to make it a little bit warmer because it is absolutely freezing cold this side.
Could we just ixnay on the cold night, please? Thank you.
So I help franchisors who want to enter in the market, and there's always quite exciting brands out there, and I love doing new brands because they need guidance and they need help. And this talk this morning will be about the financing of the franchisees. So we'll assist the guys this morning as well. Yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Martha.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Martha Shingange, and I am the head of marketing and communications at a government organization called the Wholesale and Retail Seta. So we're basically about education and training for wholesalers and retailers. I'm quite excited to be hearing that there's some franchisees here that are somehow linked into our market, which is retailers, particularly the township, because that is some of our stakeholders. So yeah, it's quite exciting for me to be here so that we can connect and find out how we can network, how we can collaborate, from educating and training franchisees so that they can really develop and upskill themselves to run even more profitable franchise businesses. So yeah, I'm quite excited. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Eugene.
Morning, everybody. Had a slow start. I couldn't get my camera to work, but all good now. Work for a company called Retail Network Services. We are normally mandated by the developers of shopping centers to do a strategy with regard to the tenant mix, the layout of the tenant mix for the shopping center. And then our mandate is to go out there and secure the suitable and qualified tenants in order to put the whole tenant mix together. So we're always looking for new tenants, interesting tenants. We're looking for new franchisees. And we're obviously looking to engage with new franchisors all the time. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Julie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie from The Little Gym. We're an international brand, and my husband and I bought the master franchise for The Little Gym and for South Africa. We opened our first store in October 2019, lucky us, in Cape Town, because we wanted to first test out the concept on the market and see how it was going in South Africa. Well, actually, we were quite lucky because we broke even in the middle of this crisis. Even sold a franchise down the lane. So things are looking quite good. Early childhood development, the children industry sector is actually quite massive in South Africa. So definitely a great business to invest in. And now we're working on business plans to open and operate 10 more stores across the country in 5 years. And also looking for new franchisees.
Nice to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Celeste.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? I'm Celeste. I am from a company called App Techniques, a little bit different from everybody else, but we are aligned somehow. I had an opportunity to have a chat with Freddie a few weeks ago, and he recommended that we come online on this networking event. I'm extremely happy that to see everybody and to meet everybody. But what we do is we specialize in software development, and recently we have invested a fair amount of time in developing a mobile app for restaurants, where customers can order or clients can order food online for collection or delivery. Application is fully branded or fully branded for the franchise or for the takeaways itself. So that's what I do.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Dimakatso and Marianne. So I think Marianne's ready.
Yes, I can speak. Can you hear me, Romany?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Mariana Price. I am from the Northwest Province, but I'm ambassador for Moringa, a global ambassador. I also teach and consult through Africa and, if needed, internationally. I actually are the online moderator too for Africa Moringa Hub. And I've also launched for Africa the leg of peace education. And I was working with Dr. Professor W&R Seta from Asia, from Southeast Asia. And we are encouraging better education in rural areas. And that's basically what I'm doing.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm not sure if Dimakatso wants to introduce herself. Just checking. Right. Let's give it a few minutes. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for sharing. It was very interesting to hear what everybody does and where everyone is from and what people are working on. That way we get to know, you know, how we can share and connect and do business with one another. You know, you just don't know who knows somebody that needs what you have to offer. So I'm always keeping my eyes and ears open for opportunities and how to connect people. I know Sean does very much the same thing. So does Robin and Carl. So it's always good to know what people are doing, because that's how we get to expand and grow and just connect. So I'm going to hand over to our very first speaker, which is Martha. And Martha Shingange is going to be sharing with us, giving SMEs a hand up and not a hand out to grow businesses through skills development. So I'm going to just hand over to Martha, who's going to just share with us about how to gain an advantage. Sorry, what have I done here? Let's see. Here we go. So if everyone can turn off your audios, and then Martha can take over. Martha, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Thank you so much, Remini. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity to come and speak to your members, your network. As I've indicated before, I am from an organization called the Wholesale and Retail Seta. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with Seta. But we are called Sector Education and Training Authorities. So that's what Seta stands for. We are government organizations. We facilitate education and training in the different economic sectors where we are. So overall, there are 21 Setas. We are in wholesale and retail. So there'll be a Seta for IT, there'll be a Seta for agriculture, there'll be a Seta for education. I saw someone is from they're in learning, in the learning space, childhood development. So there will be a Seta for that. So basically anything that you can think of that we do in the economy is covered by a Seta. So in the W&R Seta, what we do as a Seta, we have to develop qualifications. We disperse or we give grants to companies that are participating in our programs. We implement learning programs, so your skills programs, your short programs, your learnerships. I'm sure you will be familiar with some of those. Then we quality assure the learning that happens in our space, because we have to certificate people who go through our various programs. Then we also offer bursaries. Then we also facilitate that young people get opportunities for workplace experience, so that they're able to get their qualifications, or that they just get prepared for the world of work. So that's basically what we do. Then if you now look at who exactly do we serve, or who do we exist for? So as indicated that we're in the wholesale and retail space, we have different companies. So from your Woolies, the giant retailers and wholesalers, your macros, right to your spaza shops. So those are the people that we have to serve. Then we also have people who are working in these companies. We also need to make sure that we serve them. We've got people who are training providers that we work with, who ensure that this training or the programs that we do, they actually deliver those programs. Then we help young people. We assist students. Then we also work with NGOs, your NPOs, and cooperatives. So we, as a government entity, we are funded by I don't want to call it a tax, but a lot of companies call it, they look at it as a tax, but there's a levy called skills development. So if you're a company and you are you've got a salary bill that is above 500,000 rand. So it means that if you are annually, so if you have people that you are working under you, then you pay salaries of more than 500,000 a year. Then there is something that they call a skills development levy that you pay to SARS, and SARS then pays to the Department of Higher Education and Training, and that money comes to us. Then we provide the programs based on that money. So if you're a franchisee here and you are in retail, it could be even fuel retail, you are paying my salary. So thank you very much for that. So the programs that we offer, which is what we want to talk to you about, is that we've got learnerships that you can have. If you have people that are working for you and you want to train them, you can put them on learnerships, then you can put them on short courses. If there's something, look, if you want to put them on customer service, if you want to put them on occupational health and safety, which has now become a very big thing with the COVID and all of that. If you want to take them for some digital skills, we facilitate that. Then you can also give opportunities to young people to come into your business, to learn about the business so that they can get their qualifications, their bursaries. So if you're one of our companies and you need a bursary, you are running your own franchise company and you want to do your MBA, for example, we offer funding for that. You can actually do an MBA funded by the W&R Seta, or if you want to do a doctorate, we can fund that. If you want to do a degree, a diploma, or a certificate, we can assist you with that. Then we also have programs for retail managers. So if you have your junior managers, and if you want them to improve how they actually manage, how they run your stores and all of that, we can also assist you. We've got a program that we take people, your people on, it's with a university, and they come out with a qualification. Then we also have an international development program. So as franchises, we can put you through a program where you go overseas for a specific time. You learn about best practices, how are our international companies doing in terms of retail, and it's fully funded by the W&R Seta. The cost is, the entire amount is over 300,000 rand, and we actually offer that at no cost to our member, if I can call them, member companies. Then we also support you as small and micro enterprises, because that's what most franchises are. They are in a small and micro enterprise. We're talking about companies that really employ between 0 to 49. So we offer you support through different programs. Entrepreneurship, which you guys are, we're quite big on that, because I think we all know that in the state that our economy is, we need more entrepreneurs. We need to have people creating more jobs than relying on going out there to find jobs. So we put you through a program to assist you in terms of how to run a business, how to start a business, particularly for young people. And once they have completed the program, then we give them a small grant. I think it's about 20,000 rand that they can invest back into their businesses. Rural, we are there. We assist rural communities with skills development, helping young people to start their businesses, because we're also saying that young people must stay in the rural communities, because now it's no use for them wanting to go into the big cities where, things are very tough. There are very few opportunities, and there are a lot of people coming in fighting for very few opportunities. So we are saying to young people, stay in your rural communities, create your own opportunities. So we assist them with skills to start their own businesses. And once they have registered their businesses, we give them a small grant so that it helps them to actually start those businesses. So I don't think I need to really explain why there would be a focus on SMMEs. I think we all know that, but maybe just to put things into perspective, in terms of the wholesale and retail, we as a Seta, we have over 100,000 companies that are with us that belong to our Seta. and about 88% of those are SMMEs. So you'll understand why there's a huge focus on SMMEs. And of course, we know about this huge unemployment rate that we have that is quite alarming in the country right now. So SMMEs right now, they are actually the answer to a whole lot of the problems that we have as a country. So it's for this reason that, you know, as a SETA, we are driving, you know, SMME development, SMME support, because we know that's where the solutions are lying. So we do this obviously through skills development as our mandate. And you would be asking yourselves, how do you get involved in all of these programs? So as a SETA, we provide what we call a sector liaison officer. So this is just someone that we pay. We don't have to pay. They come to your business and help you with the required documentation, because, you know, we're government, so the different documents that you need to complete so that you can start getting benefit from the programs that we offer. So they come to you at no cost. There are timelines, obviously, in terms of when we can do that, and it's by the 30th of April of each year that you need to submit a document that says now that you want to actively participate in our program. So we do that at no cost to you. So if there are few retailers here, we do have few retailers, and I know the fuel retail sector, it's predominantly, you know, franchise ran. So we do partner with, you might be familiar with your Fuel Retailers Association. We do partner with your retail motor industry, the RMI. Then they apply on behalf of their members. Then for special projects, they come to us and they say, guys, we've got so many members, so many fuel retailers, and these are the programs, and we want to apply on their behalf so that they actually get to benefit from your programs. We do that, but we also allow those retailers to come to us, directly deal with us. We take them through the process, as I've indicated, that we do give you assistance. So we don't leave you out there to start wondering, you know, how to go about this, how to complete the documents, because we understand also that, you know, as a small business, you really don't have the time, firstly. Sometimes it's the resources for all these processes that we have, because it's forms that you need to complete, send back to the W&R Seta, coordinate the training and all of that. So once again, we give you the assistance. There are people that we pay as a SETA, we contract, we send them out to you, then they give you that support. We have companies like your Petro Connect that assist you know, people who are interested in getting into the fuel retail space. So they train you, they expose you so that you understand what it means to be, you know, a franchisee in fuel retail. And they will also give you that additional support in terms of you acquiring or buying into a petrol site, if that's then what you would like to do. Or if you just want to, you know, become a supervisor, if you want to become a manager in a fuel retail setup. So those are really some of those programs that we have for small businesses. And you might want to know, like, what's in it for you. So if you are a company that has been paying that skills development levy that I spoke about earlier, when you start actively participating, as in you complete that document that I referred to earlier, you send it to us, you can claim about 20% of the monies that you have paid to SARS. It comes back to you. And also you get to participate in all of these programs that I've spoken about. And I think you will agree that there's a whole lot of value, because, you know, if you're a small company, your levy, it's 1% of your salary bill. So if you are making 500,000 rand, you can imagine, you know, how much money that is. And the value that you are getting, you can run a learnership, you can bring a graduate in, and we pay for all of these things. So it's not like you are paying. We can give you a bursary. I mean, MBAs, we know how expensive MBAs are. They could easily cost you about 250,000 rands, and that is fully funded by the SETA. So yeah, all the degrees or the diplomas that you might be interested in, we pay for that fully so. But also what's important is that the greatest benefit is that you have got skilled people, you know, working for you, and it means that your company, it's more productive. You know, you're doing things better. Your company can grow when you have got skilled people that are working for you, or when you yourself as a as an owner of a company, when you are skilled, you know the right things, you've the relevant support, then you are able to run your business more profitably, which is very important, because it's really all about the profit, but you run your business much better. Then there are also tax rebates. So if you put a young person into your business for a learnership, there's a tax rebate that you can get from SARS. So that will really be the benefits of really coming through into the system and participating. So we're just really here to create awareness, to say, guys, there is a helping hand. There are these programs that the W&R Seta is offering to you at no cost, at no direct cost, as in you are not going to pay 250,000 rands for whatever program that you would like to go into. The Seta can assist you, but all you need to do is to come into the system, because if you are already paying the levy, there's money that you're already paying to STARS. So why not take advantage of this? And of course, there are also informal traders. I'm not sure if we have informal traders that are here, but we also support them, because we understand that they also need that helping hand. So for us as a Seta, whether you are a Woolworths, or whether you are a spaza shop just selling on the street, or a hawker, we have programs for everybody. We have support for everyone. So even the informal traders, there are programs that we are running every single year. We take about 2,400 informal traders throughout South Africa. We train them, and after the training, we give them a small grant, just to invest back into their companies. So I think that is my story of saying, please come through, let's get South Africa skilled, and you guys are the people who can actually assist us to do that. So thank you so very much for this time. I appreciate it. Thank you, Romini.
Come on, Romini.
Yeah, well, if I don't put myself on mute, then I'm on full screen like you are right now. Anyone got any questions for Martha?
I just wanted to say, Martha, amazing. What an awesome program. Like, I had no idea that something like that even existed. So, geez, I mean, we're in the process of getting all of our bits and pieces sorted in South Africa, and you can definitely count on us, getting involved.
Great stuff. That's what we'd like to hear. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sean.
I would like to ask a question. Now, if the companies or the businesses are not contributing to the Seta fund, so you said a salary bill over 500,000, so your smaller retailers don't. Can they still get trained through Seta as well if they're not actually contributing to the Seta fund?
Your audio is a bit bad. Oh, just give us a moment. I think we've lost a bit of audio here. Martha?
Can you hear me, Romini?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me. I'm so sorry about that. So I was saying, I think I had a bit of a connection issue. So I had, if I'm correct, Robin is asking about how do we assist the companies that are below the threshold of 500,000 rand? Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. So we do have programs even for those particular companies, so they can also participate. So, for example, we'll then say, open a funding window. Then we will offer them 9,500 rands per annum that they can use towards any training program of their choice. So then there are also these other programs that I was talking about, like your retail management development.
Oh dear, I think we've got connection challenges. So we'll come back to Martha maybe a little bit later to answer the question, and we'll hand over to Robin. Let's just give Martha and see. All right, I think we better hand over to Robin for our next session, and then we can come. Are you back, Martha?
I am back. I'm terribly sorry for
it happens.
my connection. Yes, I'm
the
so
world
sorry.
of technology.
I don't even know. I don't even know where I had gone in terms of explaining. But I was basically saying that we assist all companies, whether they are paying a levy or they are not. So if they are not paying a levy, there are programs for them. They will just not get the full amount as with the other companies that are actually contributing a levy. But we do also assist those companies. So we advertise what we call the funding window. Then we offer them, I think it's up to 9,500 rands in terms of a grant that they can then use to get programs. They program.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
There's a ghost in the machine.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll have to come back to you, Martha, a bit later, or maybe we'll get you to write an article for us, and then we'll read up on it. I think that's probably the best way going forward. Yeah. Because you go away and come back. All right, so let's hand over to Robin, who is going to be sharing with us the big question about funding, the big question that everybody has about funding. So let's find out what Robin has to share in relation to funding and how to get it compliant.
Hold on, how'd you move your picture around like that? That was cool.
Yeah, don't worry, I just learned this morning, so it's amazing. Yeah, as old techies, we don't know anything. My name is Robin. We run a franchise consulting company, and what I'm going to talk about this morning is basically funding. How can you actually improve your funding mechanism to enable the franchisee to get faster funding? So there's quite a lot of things that you can do, and now I have something.
So Robin, just keep your mic close to your mouth so we can hear it a little bit better.
Okay, still antiquated. I will upgrade soon. Basically, the National Development Plan was to eradicate the poverty and reduce equality and that sort of stuff. 90% of jobs will be created in the SMMEs sector, so that's what they're stimulating. So that's where the training comes in. I think it's quite important that the government has been very involved in the training side. That gives you a much better workforce. The SMMEs are 52% of the GDP, which is approximately 1 trillion rand of the GDP, which is quite amazing. It's quite a big chunk. The banks only really finance 6% of the SMEs, and mostly in the maturing stages of development, which is a real problem if you're a startup, franchisor, or even medium startups. So they normally look at your maturing guys. And your geographical areas or locations is also quite a big factor. So, for example, Gauteng would get financed faster than a guy would be in the Northern Cape or Mpumalanga. The National Credit Act was brought in, I think, in 2008 or 2005, as far as I remember. They're there to promote a fair, transparent, competitive, sustainable, responsible, efficient, effective, accessible credit markets and industry. The purpose of this act was basically two-pronged. It's to protect the consumer. That's that's how it started. But most people feel that it's regulating the credit industry, which I think is quite a good thing. It's not a negative. The problem with banking and every other area is that you can get over indebtedness. which is a real issue. There's a classic case in 2008 where Judge Erasmus ruled on indebtedness of a client, which they then sent it back to the bank, and the bank had to reorganize his debt. So that's quite a good thing. If we just look at the banking system, it's quite important to understand that the international banking system interreacts and interrelates. So they have processes or mechanisms in place to have compliance, which is a bit of a problem because they actually become very risk averse, and it's very difficult to get money from your banks. If we look at the USA housing loan collapse, I think it was a couple of years ago, and which caused a hell of a problem. I worked with one of the franchisors, Mr. Reddy, and he was always annoyed. And he actually worked with a lot of the banking leaders to be able to get more funding readily available for your smaller guys, your previously disadvantaged. And he was highly irritated. He passed away, but he was highly irritated. He always said, "Yeah, to borrow R1, you have to have R2 in your pocket," which doesn't make any sense. I want to talk about FASA as well, because I think FASA has done one hell of a job. Through the years, they've actually brought in all the documentation, which sometimes irritates me, but it's really good that there's full compliance of all the stuff, your disclosure document, your franchise agreement. And I think FASA has a huge responsibility to ensure that we are compliant. It's a pity that not everybody is FASA registered, because they are doing a good job. The requirements for the banks usually is that you are FASA registered and have at least 5 franchisees, which is a real problem for your startups, because it's very difficult if you're starting up with your first or second or third franchisee to actually get funding. Once again, it's the maturing franchisors that actually get funding for their members. Startups, I usually do a preliminary membership that gets them going, and after they have their 5 franchises, they normally go into a full membership, which is what the banks really would like. The process that the franchisor can get involved with is the vetting process of the franchisee. We're so desperate to sell, especially if you're a new franchisor, we're so desperate to sell, we forget to do all of this. You need to do a bit of a psychological check. You need to do a definite credit check. And I really advise to do a criminal check. So if a franchisee actually applies, he has to give you a criminal clearance as well. Your structured site selection process is really important. A lot of guys go for the franchisee must find his site. Yes, he must find his site, but at the same time, try and go back and make quite sure that the location is good. Location is always with any business. The banks really like owner-run businesses. And the other place where the franchisor can play a big role is business plan training. The business plan is really a mechanism for the banks to see if the franchisee is compliant. If he has no idea of how to run a business, how can he buy a business? So it's your responsibility to actually train them. And it's especially important on the business plan training, because you can give them a template, but you often have to make quite sure that they personalize it the best way they can, so the bank gets the feeling or the understanding that the franchisee will be able to manage a franchise. So make sure that the applications are good. It's really important to send a good pack, which I'm going to talk about now. You can pre-register with your mainstream institutions like ABSA, Nedbank, Standard Bank, FNB. So as a franchisor, you can go to them, get yourself pre-registered, and once you have a franchisee, once you give their pack, the application, and you already pre-registered, so they're just vetting the franchisee to see if they'll be able to manage the loan, the repayment. So the list of requirements for a pack that I often do is your business plan. Make sure that is quite good. Your FASA certificate, financial projections of the franchisor. So they basically want to see what's your 5-year plan. Where are you going? What are you going to do to ensure that your franchisees are successful? So that's quite important. They also ask the projected financials. So if you have 2 or 3 options, of each option, they need what you would suggest would happen, but you also need to do predictive financials on low, medium, and high performing stores. That's quite important for them to see. I used to do just a sensitivity analysis, which shows that, but it seems to be gets missed by the banks. So if you do 3 different financial models for them, a low, medium, and high, it seems to make things much easier. Of course, all your franchise documents, your franchise agreement, and they also like to see an index of your OPA, your operations and procedure manual. Please be careful. There is IP involved in your OPM. Don't give too much information. Then you need your franchisor management structure. What people often miss is that your structure of your company is very important. You can't have one person running 20 franchisees. You need to have a structured rollout of your management structure, and you need to actually put it in place. This is what this guy is going to do. That's what that guy is going to do. And can you manage the franchisee? So they really like to understand that you actually can. How are you going to roll out? So your rollout plan, are you going to do 5 this year, 10 next year? You need to give a sort of a structure of how you're going to plan. Your marketing policy and structure is quite an important one. They want to see how you're going to market the business. That's really to see if the franchisee would be quite successful. So startups, it's very difficult. And often I just suggest a 1-year marketing plan, what they need to say, okay, we're going to do this year. Training is probably one of the most important things. That's why I'm so happy Martha was on this morning, because it's quite a difficult one. To set up your training program can be quite a nightmare, and you need to invest in that. But training is not just, they're not just looking at your training that you do initially. They also do like to see what your ongoing training schedules are and your programs are. So the other thing is policies on franchisee retention. You really need to understand what you're going to do if you have a difficult franchisee. Sometimes it doesn't work. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not conforming to all your things set out in your documentation, especially operations procedure manual. Anyway, and then the failure management as well. How are you going to manage a guy that's totally failed? How are you going to manage that? Often you have to help dealing with landlords. If you can try and get a new franchisee to take over the business, it might be just a personal issue, it might be everything else, but they want to see that you actually have a policy in place to manage that. Your site selection policy is once again a big thing. They also want to see that you actually have a formalized way of doing that. Then your franchisee recruitment policy. How are you going to get franchisees? Somebody asked me this morning, it's difficult to get new franchisees. So there's a way of structuring that so that you can actually manage that and get the rollout that you are planning. Then you need to also have a policy on monitoring your KPIs, your key performance indicators. It's basically your safety, especially in the food industry, your safety performance, your quality performance, your cost performance, your delivery performance, and of course, most important is your people performance. Remember, your staff is the face of your business, and especially on a franchisee, how do you manage that? So there's lots of mechanisms to actually manage it. It's your inspections, your daily, monthly inspections, your quarterly inspections. Those inspections are not to inspect if they're doing things, but it's also just to monitor your KPIs. Then I'm going to go through a list of funders. So this is probably the one thing that everybody would like to know. And if there is a list, I have a document with the whole listing in. If you want to, you can just email me and I'll send you the list with their contact details, by the way. There's Standard Bank, your mainstream, Netbank, Absa, and F&B. Then you have business partners, which has actually played quite a good role. They do small to medium businesses. They specialize in 250K to 15 million. They take an equity stake, which then over the period of the loan repayment reduces, and eventually the business becomes yours. The only problem I have with it, it's very expensive capital at the end of the day. Then you have your angel investors. There's a whole group of angel investors. There's websites available for that, where you can do applications for a franchisee. For example, a group of franchisee, they would be able to help. Sasfin Private Equity, they can also give you a bit of equity, but they also mainly would fund the equipment of a startup. So that's a very good way to bring in additional capital into a franchise. Then your government institutions is quite important. I think they've actually done quite a bit. CIFA is the latest one and actually works very well. The funding takes a bit long. They can do up to 100%, but I think Freddie would agree with me that even CIFA is looking that the franchisee has at least a 50% contribution. They're having problems doing 100% funding, so does ECDC. The interest rates are normally low. It's usually about 5%, which is great. But then you also have your Kula Enterprise. They've done quite a bit. They do basic training. They do all the business plans. They assist the franchisee to actually get on board and know what he's doing. But they often go to your commercial banks, retail financial intermediaries, and Microsoft credit outlets. Then we have small business growth trust fund. They do 10,000 to 3 million. Izibulu SME Kula fund. Now, Kula actually works with some of these funds like Metropolitan. I know that there's Mnet also has a fund. Then you have the Enablers Acceleration Fund. They also work with Kula. Then you also have a Kula Credit Indemnity Scheme. No equity applications there. Then you have your non-bank retail financial intermediaries, Kula Fund and on lenders. Now, on lending means that you as a franchisor can borrow the money if you're willing to take the risk for, say, 5 franchises, and you on lend to them, and they can actually roll out their franchisees, and you just monitor the payments of the loans. There's a communities fund, a small business hub. They do basically just project funding. So if the franchisee is busy with a project, they would fund the project. Then there's IDC, but IDC mostly works with IT, farming, manufacturing. That's their speciality. So if your franchise is in that field, it's very good. I'm busy thinking of a company, a beekeeper that wants to franchise his business, and I think it's quite a good thing. So he would probably go to IDC for that sort of thing. They have several funds available. The one thing I really want to tell you is that you really need to be very careful. There's a lot of charlatans out there, and they come and push for 100% funding. But what they do is they do the applications for the franchisee, and they claim they can get it through. They have ways of getting it through, and they charge up to 20% of the fee. And what they often do is they push the loan capital amount up with the 20% and extra. I mean, we had one case where they did an application for a business that would have cost 1.6 million, and they did an application for 7 million. So really, please be careful if that's happening. Advise your franchisees that's not the way to go. This is a really big problem because it sets the poor franchisee up for failure, and it usually goes through normal channels anyway. So the application goes into normal channels. And I often find that these things take forever and most of the time doesn't materialize or they disappear. So it's also a very expensive capital. I hope this has been valuable for you guys. You can contact me at any time. I can give you some info on the institutions and how to go about it. I would like to, at some stage, talk to Martha to be able to how to assist the franchisees as well. Thank you for your time, guys.
Questions for Robin?
Yeah, Robin, that was a great session, actually. You know, I'm very surprised. You know, there's more funding options in South Africa than there are in England. You know, over here, you basically got the banks and you've got one or two financial institutions like Hitachi Capital, whatever. So it's really good to see. The one thing I was going to ask though is that you know, the banks themselves, you know, the best solution is usually the banks, right? If you can get funding from the banks, that's usually the best way to go. What can the franchisor do to shore up that relationship with the banks? Because as an example, one of the things that we do over here with some of the franchise companies that we work with is we actually take a pilot operation, right? So we act as the first pilot operation as a professional organization. We launch the franchise, we run the franchise, we validate the franchise, and then we take our reputation along with the reputation of the franchisor to the banks, and we say, well, listen, this isn't just pie in the sky. We're a professional organization. We have validated these numbers. We realize that these are all good and true. So you can trust us as well as them. And then typically what would happen is they would you would get sort of 75 to 80% you know, loans over here of the total requirements. So you know, if you needed, if the franchise, as an example in UK terms, was a 20,000 franchise, you know, and the working capital requirement was, you know, a total was another 20,000, then the banks would give 80 of the total requirements based on all of that. Is that what happens in South Africa in terms of the loans?
You know, I find it very difficult to for your startup franchisors who have like 2 or 3 or 4 franchisees. It's near impossible getting funding for the franchisees. So wow. It becomes a bit scary because in the first 5 franchises, you now have to look for cash buyers, and that's quite a difficult thing to do. Banks are so risk averse at the moment because if you put a guy in, you indebt a guy and he now has to pay back a loan and he can't service that loan, they lose the money. They have to reorganize the debt and the business closes anyway. And this also comes a lot from guys who go and borrow money and then they just disappear with the cash. So you as a franchisor should really vet your franchisees properly and make quite sure those sort of things are working properly. Your application is done. You've actually made sure that the franchisee is legit. But I have got loans through our startups for franchisees, but they always have to have good equity and they have to have unencumbered funds as well. It's very important to have that unencumbered funds, which is very difficult if you're looking at your previously disadvantaged guys. They just don't have that. But there is mechanisms to manage that. You can go to Kula, which Kula, all the government organizations, CIFA, they really can assist on that. So if a guy doesn't have the capital, then they can do it, and they actually give good, nice term loans that you can pay over a long period. But the mainstream banks are difficult to get funding. Your easier ones are your Standard Bank, and then I would say your Nedbank is second. Then you have your ABSA Bank as well, but your FNB is totally risk averse. It's very difficult to get funding from them.
Oh, it's difficult. So, right. So basically, you have to have the banks basically need at least 5 franchisees to give themselves a nice warm feeling inside, you know, before they'll fund. Which, I mean, you know, I can kind of get it from their point of view, that they need to make sure that there's and from a franchisor's point of view, the last thing that you want is to be that franchise that the bank doesn't want to fund, right? So, you know, there's a vested interest in making sure that everything works. No, it's really interesting, actually, Robin. So, what about the bigger guys? So, like, I've got a multi-unit franchisee right now who wants to invest in South Africa. He's looking to take 30, you know, locations at once if he can, right? He's got a bit of cash. But, you know, so when the guys come in with you know, potentially foreign investors looking for loans, do they just have to bring their own money in, or is there a possibility of getting loans in South Africa too?
There is possibility of getting loans. Of course, there's a lot of provisions you have to provide for, but there is a possibility. But usually in those instances, they're looking for at least a 50% unencumbered fund. So you need to bring at least 50% in on that.
Okay.
But you can approach them, and the big guys that would work on that one, and they promote this sort of thing quite well, is your Standard Bank. I'm not pro Standard Bank, or you know, I'm not promoting them, but my experience has shown that they're a little bit more open to funding that sort of situation.
Okay, and I suppose just the last question is, do you have any stats or just you know, anecdotal you know, information about the survivability, or at least the success rates of franchisees? So in any franchise network. So over here, you know, we know just from the research that's been done, something like 93% of all franchisees are not only still in business, but are profitable after 3 years. You know, and which is a big thing for the funders, because I mean, the probability of losing money is like massively diminished.
Yeah, that's where they become risk averse. 90% of our franchisees, Freddie can correct me on that, actually are quite successful. But you do have your failures, but often your failures also come from your startups, where they're new to it, they're not quite sure how to manage it, especially the franchisor managing a new franchisee. So that's why they're risk averse for new startups. But if you're more established, they love that, and they also love multi-unit franchisees. So a guy would, if he buys his first franchise successful and he wants to open a second, it's a practice that's done by your McDonald's, your KFC, all of these guys. Because you have one franchisee then owns 6 or 7 franchises, and then they fund you 100% if you require.
Oh wow, nice. So that's the secret then. Be successful. Yeah. If you're rich, if you're rich, it's easier to get money.
Yeah, that's why Mr. Reddy always said you have to have for every one rand that you borrow, you have to have 2 in your pocket.
Cool. Thanks, Robin.
Excellent, thank you. So Lil Jim is asking, she thought that Business Angeles did not fund franchises.
Angel funding.
Sorry, that was Angels. Sorry.
Angels, oh, okay.
You do get angel funding. There's a few organizations, and funny enough, it always jumps up in Cape Town. I don't know why. You guys are obviously got more money down there. But they do actually fund the smaller franchisees. But often it works with a franchisor, where they would fund the franchisor that then sublends to the franchisees. So if you have a rollout plan and you've got 20 franchises that's waiting, they got their deposits, they got everything, and you would like to fund those ones, they would actually fund the franchisor to fund the franchisees.
Excellent. Any further questions? No? Excellent.
So that was easy.
Yeah, that was easy. So I'm just going to close off with everybody. I would like you just to share your golden nugget for today. What is your key takeaway? It could be anything. It could even just be meeting someone that you was introduced earlier. And that is my key takeaway. It's always interesting to see the kind of people who attend, and yeah, people doing some great things in the world today. So let's hand over to Graham, what's your golden nugget? And then you can nominate the next person.
Okay, so I haven't got everyone on my screen, but I think today's discussion has been very enlightful. I think a lot of great pieces of information has been shared across the speakers that I need to still wrap my brain around. But there was one thing I was thinking about, Romany, and perhaps the team as well. You know, we spoke about funding and setting up and training and that type of thing. But what happens when a franchisee goes to market? Maybe that's something we need to talk about around, you know, advertising, getting the customer, engaging with the customers and that type of thing. You know, I'd like to hear, maybe there are people on this panel that can share some of those ideas, maybe at a later stage, you know, over the course of these sessions, is what makes a successful franchisee, you know, because it's all about customer behavior and customer engagement and that type of thing. So I'm not too sure who can I ask. I'll nominate maybe Luke can be the next person.
And while Luke's unmuting himself, I'll just paste the feedback link in the chat box, which you can please complete for us. It's helpful to us to understand how we are progressing and for conversations. You must unmute, Luke.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try my best to answer this question. I might maybe just go off track, but obviously what makes a very successful franchisee for me, I'd say obviously location. You know, the location is obviously the most important thing, because obviously if you don't have the right location out there at the moment, I mean, yeah, if you don't have the right location, how are you going to bring in feet, you know? So for example, if we take an area like Rivonia, for example, like, you know, it's a very buzzing area. So if you do maybe open up maybe a restaurant there, like you do know that there will be people coming in, as you do know, like for example, the youth, like for them, it's a great area because obviously sorry, I'm a bit nervous about this.
Yeah, it's fine. Just share golden nuggets. Just your golden nuggets. Yeah.
But yeah, for me, like I said, location plays is a very big factor, and like I mentioned, why I mentioned Rivonia, it's a good area, especially for the youth. Like there's a lot of even happening things that you can do in the area. Like you can maybe go to a club, or you can go to a nice restaurant like the News Cafe, or for example like a Sishat, and yeah. And I'm not sure if I have now answered that question correctly, but yeah, that's
fine. Yeah, it's okay. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So we're sharing our golden nuggets. What's your key takeaway for this morning? So let's ask Julie. You have to go on order.
Sorry. Yeah. My golden nugget was definitely Robin. This was
so
very
beautiful.
Interesting. This was really great because it's true that as I mean, you are all a majority of South Africans, but when your international investors are coming in South Africa and you try and figure out, you know, how it all works out and what you shouldn't do, as everybody hears to my accent, I'm very much American, and so we have a very peculiar way of doing business. And therefore, yeah, you learn as you go. And so this type of presentation, and Robin, your type of knowledge, it's, I know I sent you a message on the side. I mean, it's a shot of knowledge. So thank you very, very much. And thank you also to all the participants. I know I've been networking on the side. It was really enriching this morning. Better than a cappuccino.
Good. Excellent.
Talking about that.
Yes, thank you. It's my first webinar with FASA. I've actually made some good contacts. I'm looking forward to setting up meetings, whether it's on Zoom or physical meeting with Sean later. And who else did I connect with? It was with Blondine. And I've just sent a message now to Julie. So it's been very productive for me this morning. Thank you.
Good. We hope to see you back again. Blondine.
Yes, very interesting for me. My goal is to advise foreign and French, in my case, a company that are looking to expand in South Africa. So it's very good knowledge for me to have, and I'll definitely stay in touch with some of you, Robin included. Yeah.
Celeste. I've lost call.
I'm here. Hi, everybody. Thank you for that insightful, informative session. Robert, some nuggets there. Thank you so much. The nuggets that I'm going to take away, or the contact that attracted me, would be Martha. And I think just to touch on, I think it was Luke that answered the question as what's needed for entrepreneurs to start up. I love the fact that we're empowering South Africa and creating more jobs. I would say, just to add on to Luke, I would say definitely digital presence is extremely, it's a footprint for the company and for the entrepreneurs. So in that way, I would say AppTechniques would then be able to assist in terms of creating websites and mobile applications for the businesses. So yeah, thank you so much for this extremely great opportunity to connect with everybody. I do appreciate it. Thank you. I would then, I suppose it's my turn to hand over to somebody for nuggets. I would say Sean Goldsmith.
I was hoping you were going to choose Jonathan down there because he wasn't looking at the screen. So bear in mind who I'm going to be choosing next. Anyway, guys, my golden nugget. Look, I work all around the world, and I've got clients in the States, in Australia, all over the place. But I tell you what, you come to events like this and you talk to people. The insights from Martha, from Robin, and just chatting to everybody else. Africa is a bloody great place to do business, eh? And I think it's just absolutely wonderful to see all these initiatives and seeing all these great people doing great things out there. So, my big takeaway is that Africa's great. Jonathan, you weren't looking. Go.
Might not be looking, but I'm listening because I've got AirPods in. Your voice is right inside my head, so I hear it all. For me, the biggest takeaway, and I mean, as I've said before, I'm fairly new into all of this, and the last couple of FASA events that I've attended, and the people that I've engaged with subsequent to the events, it's amazing for me how much of a support structure there is out there that is enabled by FASA and allows people to kind of bump into these circles that, as an entrepreneur, it's hell of a scary. And I mean, I've been self-employed for 25 years. For 25 years, you kind of don't really have many people to turn to talk to ask questions of, to pull advice from. And what's been the best for me is that even those who don't have an actual money motive or I'm trying to sell you something motive, they're still willing to give advice, to share advice, to assist you. That for me has been the biggest takeaway on this, and is an ongoing takeaway for me from these events. And I'd like to hear from Freddie.
Yes, thank you, Jonathan. My takeaway from this session is that we keep evolving, and that is important for our entrepreneurship. And I think it is important that we share this kind of platform because there are those who don't know about it, irrespective of how we put it out there. We always have those who don't have access to the kind of information. I have to plug this thing in. Otherwise, it will go off. Give me a sec. My battery is dying, so I need to.
Oh, you need to get plugged in.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think what we are doing as the Franchise Association now is to grow our footprint One, we are at an advanced stage where we engage government to take notice that franchising plays a critical role in terms of stimulating the economy, creating job opportunities, creating business opportunities, alleviating poverty. We are in constant interaction with the Department of Small Business Development. We are in contact with the Department of Trade, Industry and Competitions. We are making our mark into the public media, radio and TV. We are also embarking on a strategic repositioning of FASA by allowing or making possible for new entrants into the market. We are partnering with the township economy stakeholders, for instance, Soweto Business Collaboration, and they have now established what we call Township Economic Council of South Africa. We are engaging with the Gauteng Department of Economic Development. We are trying by all means to re-establish our relationship with Proudly SA. We are also engaging with CIFA in ensuring that we open funding opportunities for small entrepreneurs who want to go into franchising. So I'm happy that we have Martha today, who also adds into the bucket of possible funders that we are looking for, especially for SMMEs and as aspirant entrepreneurs. So I think at all material times, we have also finalized our processes with Service Seta. I've posted a question to Martha to say, while we are busy preparing our franchise manager occupational training manual, are they going to be part of that or not? As of tomorrow, we will be submitting our expert list of those who will participate in preparing the manual for the training. So we are engaging in these processes because we are trying to ensure that franchising take its rightful place in the society and become a major role player insofar as contributing to the development and progression of our country and our economy. And we know that franchising business model is one of the best models ever. I mean, we span across 14 sectors in the country, and we are therefore need to occupy the rightful place in the economy. And I think we need you guys to keep on playing your role and ensuring that we allow new entrants to come through and create opportunities in ensuring that the Franchise Association of South Africa continue to play its main role, not only in South Africa, but the whole world as well. Thank you very much.
Hey, Golden Nuggets, Martha and Robin, you want to share anything before we close?
Yes, please. What a lovely session that I had, and I'm so glad that I came in. So I'm so excited about the connections that we're making, and I really look forward to engaging with some of the people with whom we'll have like common issues of interest. So yeah, I'm quite excited about the engagements that will come out after this, and hopefully we can be part of these sessions in future and talking about other things that we do. Also, when you have new members that are coming through, we would really love to partner with you further. Thank you so very much.
Hey, Robin, anyone I've left out? I think Robin's maybe answering a call there or something. It's gone MIA. All right, guys, thank you so much for this morning's session. Thank you for joining us. And yes, please join us next time and on 4th of November. And please remember to complete the feedback form. If you need me just to post it again, I will. And yes, have a super weekend and a great week further.
Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.